XGIMI has some new projectors. And guess what they did? They sent me one, which is fantastic. So thank you to XGIMI for sending over this projector here. This is the Horizon S20 Pro. They have an S20 and the S20 Max as well. This is the Pro, it's the middle one. So this is their middle of their high-end stuff, because all the XGIMI stuff is high-end. This is a 4K laser projector, excellent color space, vibrant brights, pretty good contrast, honestly, considering this is not an OLED, it's gonna look pretty good there. Excellent speakers. Let's just spoil the whole video right now and tell you this thing is fantastic, but let's jump in right now to the review and I'll show you why this thing is really, really good. So here is the new Horizon 20 Pro, XGIMI Horizon 20 Pro. Looks like it's already on sale. Very nice pre-launch price here. This is American price. They have Canadian websites you can get other places as well, but we'll put some links in the video description down below for a few places you can find it, I suppose. Now, this is one of their high-end one. I've done a few reviews for them. I've done a couple of their portable projectors, which were lovely, fantastic. I've done a couple of their high-end projectors as well. This is a very high-end projector. You're going to get a triple laser, so you're going to get very good brightness. You're going to get crisp text. Text fringing is not going to be a big issue on this. That's good for, I mean, obviously watching shows, gaming, that kind of stuff is going to be very great. 4100 ISO lumens, obviously it's going to be very bright as a result. You get 20,000 to 1 contrast. There are ways you can affect contrast if you have a very dark wall, like you can put it on a black canvas or a gray canvas, that kind of thing. It will actually improve the contrast even more, or you can go with a light canvas like a white, and that will give you even more vibrancy. I'm going to show both. I have a portable white canvas, and I'll put it on my slightly darker wall, like an off gray. Very good. Yeah, you're going to get some other features as well. 240 hertz. You're going to get nice smoothing. VRR is fantastic, especially if you are going to be using things like gaming, using it for things like gaming, ultra latency and that. So, you know, if you're going to be gaming on something like this, this is a huge compelling feature for it. The fact that you can make massive canvases for gaming. There it is on a big wall. I'm going to do something like that, actually with a very similar tone to that. That's one of the things I'm going to do. Huge wall, so you can get a huge canvas. Very nice. I am going to also show on like a white canvas as well. You do have lens shift as well, so it'll move around when needed. That's going to help with getting it lined up and help line it up naturally. So it's going to figure out where your angles are. So you can see here, it's figuring out where the angles are, and it's going to essentially create a nice square canvas for you. The wall, like here's the example here, right? So that you're going to project it at a weird angle. You're not going to necessarily have this thing at a full perpendicular wall, 90 degrees, directly firing exactly what you want. That's fairly unreasonable. So this is going to figure it out and get it lined up properly for you. So that's perfect. I'm going to have a case like that. It's not going to be lined up perfectly otherwise. And finally, we do have down here, this is what I was looking for here. We do have that good color space there. Good color space is important. I don't want to see washed out colors. So let's jump in. I'm going to open it up, unbox it with you guys, and then we will get it set up and test it out. Okay, so here it is. That's the box. This is how it arrives. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, get this hooked up here. I like this little fuel cell thing that they got going here. It's cool. I like that. Do that again. Okay, now I will warn you, the one thing that I find very difficult to do is record laser projectors. The reason is the way that the light works. I mean, it's a laser. It's not just like a general light being put on a wall from like a bulb, a light bulb. So you don't get the same effect. So cameras, it doesn't matter which camera I've used. This is an actual camera, DJI camera right here. And I've tried it on my iPhone as well. iPhone 16 Pro Max. It doesn't matter. You get this weird like banding and color. It's just the way that cameras work with lasers. Maybe there's a way of getting around with a professional camera, like a $20,000 camera, but I don't have that. Now this should be very easy to set up. We'll go through obviously here. It should be very easy to set up. The reason is because it is using Google TV. So I've set up how many countless Google devices in my life. So I literally just went through on my phone. I scanned the QR code and then it said, do you want to log in through Google? And I said, yes. Logged in through Google on my personal Google account. And that's it. Okay, so here we are getting set up now. Very good. Obviously, we do have a lot of licensed apps. This is not some cheapo whatever off-brand projector. It's a high-end projector with Google TV. But yeah, so I mean, there we go. So we'll get set up here. It did its update. Intelligent correction or manual, essentially. We're going to go with intelligent. It'll figure it out. I think it already did, to be honest. It looks pretty straight to me. What does that little picture say there? So that's manual. Yeah, you can adjust it yourself or you can just let it do it on its own. We're going to go with doing it its own. Based on my experience with XGIMI, their intelligent correction is fantastic. You can do this manual at any time by pressing the focus button, but we'll go like that there. Auto keystone, same idea. That will. I like the little picture that's doing my job for me here. It's telling you how to do it. Obstacle avoidance. You can see there's a little thing there, like a picture frame. It's on a wall. It will adjust to that. Unfortunately, I don't have anything on this wall. It's such a like stark space here, but it will adjust. And I have tested this in a different room, and it did work very well. Very good. I like. I don't need that for now. You can if you want. Okay, now here we are set up, looking pretty good, I would say. I'm gonna come into the shot and show off some stuff. We have two different angles here. Again, I don't have this room totally black. You can see a little bit of where the light is there. So we don't have a totally black canvas here. This is not a white wall. It's a slightly off gray, it's actually a lighter gray. The nice thing about lighter grays is they'll give you more contrast. Darker grays, even more contrast. So if you go to the darker wall, you'll get a darker contrast type thing. If you go with a white canvas like that, you're going to get a much brighter image. There is eye protection, so if you walk in front of it, you don't take a laser beam to the eyes, as you can see there. Very good. So it looks fantastic so far to start here. One of the nice things about these is you're going to be getting, it's a true 4K image. It's not a 4K upscale. It's not 1080p just stretched out. So you actually get really nice text here. So here's an example. If you're looking at these imagery here with obviously text on them, they look truly fantastic. Honestly, you're going to get really good text clarity, which is important because this is a large canvas. This right now would be about the size of a, what do we got here? 75-inch TV. You can of course go much larger. I could actually bring this back even further and get an even larger one. Let's do that. Right, so you can just keep making this larger and larger and larger. Right now we're at, what are we at now? Maybe not quite 80, yeah, probably about 80 inches right now, I would say. So we can come like that here. We can get this stuff set up. Autofocus complete. There's some displayed stuff though, of course. We can come in here. Adaptive light, projector light output. So if you're in, it's a bright room right now, so obviously it's going to be maxed out, very high. If you're in a completely black room, this thing could get pretty bright. So you could say, let's turn it down a little bit there. Different picture mode, standard, movie. Oh, didn't mean that. Movie, vivid. Ooh, vivid is really bright. Holy smokes. That is a very vivid image. Interesting. So yeah, that's the standard there. Movie actually softens the colors a little bit. Vivid is incredibly bright. These colors become super bright. Saturated. They're exaggeratedly saturated. That might be good for games actually. Test that. Game is also very saturated. So that's when we test a little bit of games, we'll do that. Sports, high power. You can come and change color temperature, this kind of stuff if you want warm or cool or whatever, all this kind of stuff. Color space, there are different color spaces you can work with. DCI-P3 is what I prefer. DCI-P3 is for content consumption. That's generally what my screens are always DCI-P3 where possible. It will look vastly better than an sRGB screen in terms of the reds and greens, and it will look massively, insanely better than, like a lower color space screen. So this is gonna look really good. This DCI-P3 is gonna look really good here. You're gonna get really nice saturated reds especially. So here we have a very challenging image for this thing to figure out. We have kind of a weird borderless type of thing here. All right. Yeah, so you can see just kind of how difficult of a scene this is here. There's a lot of stuff for this kind of AI to figure out. There's a huge wall blank here, blank there, with a bright window behind it. This is a very challenging scene for this thing to kind of sort of figure out here, to be honest. And it's doing a good job. It's bringing it right perfectly within the frame, right to the edge on the left, right to the edge on the right. Of course, you can then, you can tune it. You can tune the focus. It already is focused, but you can tune it like that. Now, one of the advantages of the red here, one of the advantages of the white canvas here, it's not going to show up on camera because of the way it is, but it's even more crisp. Like the whites now are like white. It's so bright now. It's so bright. So if you have a big white canvas, especially if you are going to be watching in a lighter room, so like a room like this where you don't have quite as much darkness, one advantage of the white is it's really going to be bright. So the colors are going to be slightly even more crisp and saturated on a white canvas like this, and they're going to be very whites because it's a white canvas. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to slightly lighten up your darks. So down here, for example, your darks get a little bit lighter, still very nice, to be honest. But you're going to end up with slightly brighter whites. If that's something you're interested in, you can do that. This was not so much as trying to show off the whites. This was actually me just trying to show off the, I guess I'd say, challenging scene ability for the AI here to figure out the challenging scene. See how well it's adapting to this weird angle that it's at? Okay, now again, we're going to have a little bit of an issue here when it comes to how clear this looks, just based on, unfortunately, my recording ability here. So this again is a 4K, so we're going to turn it up to 4K. Very nice. Let's actually slow it down because I find it's kind of fast when I'm trying to show. Okay, so the reds here are incredibly vibrant. This is where that DCI-P3 color space comes in. It's very, very, very red. If you have an sRGB color space, that red will come down slightly and it'll still look reddish, but you'll get a little bit of an orange. And then if you go below that 100% sRGB, you'll start to get into the case where this will almost look like a pink or orange, desaturated and gross. Whereas when you're in the DCI-P3 color space, high color space values here, we're above 100% sRGB. On this projector here, you're going to end up with a nice vibrant red. Very, very vibrant red. It's going to look nice and crisp. That's important to me when you get a nice royal red. I don't like to see below that, unfortunately. It's just the way that I am. Then we have here, this is an example of the blacks. Again, it is not an OLED, so you do have some light here. You can see potentially no light. So if you had a black canvas, completely black canvas with absolutely, like painted black wall, and you had this here, you would probably get to the point where there's so little light coming out that it looks almost essentially completely black, maybe a little bit. But again, I have a fairly light room here. There's lots of windows here. Ambient light is fairly high for someone who's using a projector. So this is a hard, very challenging, worst case scenario, and it's doing a very good job. The contrast looks quite good here. Yeah, I can see where the outline of the TV would be if it was a television, like if it was a bezeled television, I can see where it would be, but that's about it. Once you were watching this thing, the contrast is very, very, very close to the natural wall behind it, so it would really, fall away and you'd be kind of sucked into that there. Right, very vibrant, beautiful colors here. It's so bright too. Even in a fairly lit room, this thing is bright. So if you had this thing in a dark room, like a basement or something set up, or you just turn off your lights more, or it's nighttime and you don't have any lights on, this thing would be super bright. So I like to see that. That looks fantastic. Let's come back and try another one here. Okay, so here's one that I normally show quite a bit. It's going to look weird again on camera. Unfortunately, there's just not much we can do about it. It's just the way that the iPhone is. But I can tell you right now, this looks incredible. The greens are very vibrant because this is a high color space projection here. So these aren't going to look kind of dead. If you look at this on a low color space screen, monitor, projector, these end up looking like dead grass. The blues are usually fine, but the greens really become kind of gross and desaturated, almost dead looking. The reds become like a weird pink kind of thing going on. The nice thing is as well, 4K, even with YouTube compressions, this is 4K, but it's compressed by YouTube. Everything looks nice and crisp. I can see all the little details here. If this was a more native 4K output, like when we do gaming or something like that, it would look even crisper. But even at this, with like YouTube, which horribly compresses videos, it looks fantastic. Everything's looking great here. So that's good. And the colors look beautiful. Again, the way that the camera technology works, that looks beautiful. It does struggle with, it does struggle quite a bit actually with these images here because of the way that the lasers work. They just freak out the camera because this is actually shooting out a laser into the wall, not just light like ambient light, shooting out a laser, a beam, lots of them, and then they're rebounding and they're going back into the camera, like literally a laser, so that the camera, it's freaking out, but that's not how the human eye works. To me, it just looks like an incredibly crisp, vibrant, beautiful image here. So it looks lovely, honestly, it looks fantastic. So, and one of the nice things here is you can adjust the size, right? So here, we're at a medium distance here. This is about, what are we at here? 7 or 8 feet from the wall. We have a huge canvas here, huge canvas of about 75 to 80 inches here. So it's very large. Go like that there. Now this has been a pretty reasonable setup here. Now I'm actually going to pull this thing over to the side and I'm going to project on an angle. See that? See how it's maintained that like aspect ratio setup? All that looks exactly the same. Right? This thing is now, I moved it over like 2 feet to the side. Look at it. Look at how quickly it adapts. So it's able to adapt on angles. Right now it's no longer at a perfect angle. I had it at a reasonably perpendicular angle before, but we don't have that anymore. We have it at a very obvious oblique angle right here. Let's go even further. Okay, we'll go like that. We'll go even further. Right, very oblique angle now. And even so, it's giving me a perfect image for me. I mean, I'm standing looking at it now, and it's parallel to the roof, parallel to the wall on that side. So it's a perfect image box here. Now it's a little bit smaller than when it was perfectly on. That's just the way that it's set up, but it looks fantastic. Just go live, sure. Okay, it's gonna get super loud. And turn it down, it's too very loud. Let's go back a little bit here. That's a nice song there. I like that, whatever that was. Travelogue. So the speakers are very nice, actually. I mean, I've had experience with the XGIMI stuff in the past. They typically have very good bass, nice crisp highs, crisp mediums. They're just generally nice to listen to, and this is no exception. It sounds fantastic. Now, the actual noise of the device, like the actual running noise of the device, is basically non-existent. I do not live in a quiet area. This is an area in my house here that actually has a fridge on running. So the noise floor here is actually like 35, 36, maybe even 37. Let me just bring my head in here. Yeah, it's very quiet. Let me bring the mic here. Can you see how far the mic is? Like if this is not even a foot right here. It's about 10 inches. So if you're sitting here, like 20 centimeters away, you are not going to hear this thing if there's any other noise in the room. I can't hear it at all. I have absolutely no ability to hear this just over my house. A capable device, at least on the output. So we're going to come in here. The connected TV supports HDR. Entering game mode. Very good. Kind of like that there. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just going to look purple. I'm sorry. But what do we want to play here? We could play some Hogwarts, which has some nice 4K. Mario Rabbids, Zelda Link's Awakening. We want to play here. What do we want to play here? Let's do... We'll do a little both. We'll do a little bit of both. So this will be a nice bright one to really show off the brightness. Hogwarts Legacy is nowhere near as bright and vivid. So we'll come in here. Ooh, that looks good. Still a bit of volume here. Not enough to demonetize the video. Oh. I haven't played this in like a month. Yeah. Wow. It's such a massive screen. I've only played this on like the Switch itself and like handheld and like a monitor. I have never played this game on a TV like this. And I played this game on the Game Boy Color. Actually, I played it on the Game Boy. And then I got the DX version, played on the Game Boy Color back in the day. So other than the fact it looks weird on camera, because there's nothing you can do about that, but it looks wonderful to me. I love it. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, so I mean, obviously the projectors are great for shows, watching shows, TV shows, yada, 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 movies. But one of the most compelling things is actually going to be games. Like it's going to look truly fantastic on games. Especially games that output 4K, right, systems. So I could use some of my handhelds. I have lots of gaming handhelds, laptops, desktops. Hook this up to your 5090 or whatever, and game at 4K with high refresh because it has high refresh, good latency, all that, and you can game do serious gaming, right? Hook it up to a console, Series X, something like that, and do some native 4K gaming there or upscaled, whatever. Nintendo Switch 2 now has 4K, whether it's it's upscaled and that, but it's a 4K output. Looks great, fantastic, very saturated and beautiful. Let's come back here. these are the cases where, I mean, I do like to watch movies on big screens. I love to watch cinema on big screens, obviously, shows. It's way more immersive. But for me, a big one is actually games. Like for me to be able to game on such a massive screen, like I grew up in the era of, you know, like my handheld wouldn't be a Switch. It would be like a Game Boy or Game Boy Color, right? Like a tiny little 1.5-inch screen or whatever it would have been, 2-inch screen. My consoles, I was playing on CRT televisions where 32 was like considered a behemoth. I mean, my family, I think we had like a 24-inch and it was like big. I actually grew up with black and white for a while. I mean, so these are technologies that like I really appreciate. Some people may not, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But like I'm a gamer who's grown through the technology based on my age and my economic situations back in the day. So for me, I mean, coming in and playing games like this on a massive screen with such levels of clarity, it is very, I don't know if like emotional is the term, but it does really like play at my heartstrings that we've come to this level where, you know, I can play these type of games. They look so amazing. They're so immersive. And, you know, they look great on a small screen, of course, like a little handheld. I love playing on my handhelds. But to take something like this and blow it up where the whole world, especially a game like Hogwarts, where like, you know, I grew up also reading the Hogwarts, the Harry Potter books. And, you know, that was in my imagination. And then, you know, I was a little bit older, the movies came out. But to then come in here and be able to, you know, I can explore where I want and I can see the game where I want on such a massive screen. It's super immersive. And play this at 150 inches or something like that. Throw this on a real wall, like a massive wall, and play this thing at 150 inches or something like that. And then we'll talk. Then we'll have a conversation of what immersive gaming is. Yeah, you can keep your OLED blacks. That's great. On your TV that's a quarter of the size of this. Like here you're going to get the same beautiful colors, vivid, bright, still very good blacks, but more specifically, you can basically customize the image to what you want. So yeah, that's my story. Let's wrap it up. That's worth it just there alone. XGIMI did it again. Obviously, this is a fantastic projector. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about it. This one is actually more affordable than, you know, the high-end, the Mac stuff, obviously. So you're getting into a fairly affordable price range here for something that is so high-end. Like you're getting into a very halo high-end projector, 4K laser projector, but it's not over expensive that, you know, you'd be looking at, you'd be like, I can't afford this, right? This is something that somebody could budget for. You could potentially budget for this projector here. Now, negatives, there aren't really any negatives. I mean, it's a projector, so it has the only negative of, I guess, like rather than being a TV, which is just on a corner type thing, you have to set up a wall or a canvas and have the projector over here. If that doesn't work for you, I guess that's not going to work for you, but you also have the advantages of you can change your size of your screen, so you can go rather than, you know, with a 30-inch TV, which you could do, like I had this in the white canvas section, fairly small, then you could go all the way up to massive, you know, hundreds of inches in a projection size. So that's fantastic. It's adjustable to your area, right? If you take it with you, because it is portable, rather than a giant TV, you could then go to the new area and project at that area. So if you're at your friend's house or something, they have a huge, massive wall or canvas or something like that, you could use it there and have, you know, hundreds of inches, and then maybe your room, the best you can do is, you know, 30, 40, 50 inches, something like that. It's fantastic, and it looks great at all of those. Because it's a 4K image, it's going to look good at high image size and lower image size. It's going to look very crisp in all cases there. Colors, vibrant, beautiful, fantastic. Brightness, good, very, very, very good, very, very, very bright, because it's a laser projector. It's going to get incredibly bright. Even on this darker wall, it's going to look very, very bright. Contrast is good as well. For a projector, it's going to crush any like non-laser projector. Obviously, it's going to be way better than that. Very, very good contrast, especially for a projector. It's not going to rival an OLED TV, but it's not even in the same competition for that. Doesn't even make sense. This is fantastic. Now, who is this for? If you're going to be spending, I mean, large TVs are very expensive. They're very expensive when you get into large TVs. Obviously, it's not going to be the same price as some tiny little thing. So if you're looking at, you know, just a small little screen, okay, sure, it's going to be a little bit cheaper to get a little screen. But if you want something that's going to project a large screen, already there, this is probably the same cost as your large TV anyways, right there. So this is going to appeal for people who want to have very large canvases for media. So if you're watching movies, shows, whatever, it's going to be fantastic to watch it on such a huge surface, but still be very clear with great colors, right? So you're going to be watching a show. I don't want muted colors. I don't want it to be dim. I don't want it to be fuzzy. This overcomes all that. 4K, bright, with very high color space. So it's going to be perfect for show watching, movie watching, media consumption, media consuming people. Then there's the gamers, who are someone who I want to emphasize this is for. I think that gamers are still stuck on the OLED craze, which is finally fading, because OLEDs are great. The great blacks are very immersive, but there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to OLEDs. Disadvantages being they're OLEDs. They do not get very bright at all. So if you're in a bright room and you're gaming or watching shows, they are not bright. Right? Like you have to get into some crazy tandem OLED technology, which costs an absolute fortune and doesn't exist in TVs right now, to get a bright OLED. So in a bright room, they're kind of like a wash. Like you don't want to use them. Good for a den or something like that, but they're also super expensive and they're limited in size and what you can do with them. You can't move around with them. You're not going to move around with a massive TV. What I'm saying here is gamers need to start looking at these 4K laser projectors because they really give you the best experience. In my opinion, the best experience. You get very vibrant colors. So you're not going to have a washed out gross color space. That means if you're playing vibrant games, they're going to look amazing. They're going to be saturated and pop off the screen. Then also you're going to get high refresh. Obviously that's a big thing for gamers, very important. Low latency, obviously a very important thing for gamers. So this is going to be a fantastic device for gamers. You get a very immersive experience like that, and it's portable, right? So if you're going to play your games in certain rooms, move around in your own house, or take it with you, get together, play some couch co-op, play games like that, it's a no-brainer, right? Like you can't take a TV with you. Like what are you going to do with your like 65-inch TV if it even fits in your vehicle? You're going to carry that around with you? This is you put it in this little carrying box, you take it with you. So it's a fantastic product. I expected as much. XGIMI just makes fantastic stuff. They have yet to send me a product that was unimpressive. I don't keep all of them. A couple of them I went to my friends. I do use one of them. Guess which one it is. But a couple of my friends have the other ones, and they're all in love with these XGIMI projectors. Right? Like we have like a squad. Like we squad up with XGIMI now. We roll heavy for XGIMI, and they all seem to love it. I've had no one say anything but praise about XGIMI. So honestly, check it out. Honestly, check it out. Before you buy a TV, before you go out there right now and you buy a TV, and you're like, oh, you need to get a TV. If you're a gamer, especially, because I know like at least people who are like media connoisseurs, videophiles, is that the right term? They're going to be like, they obviously see the advantage of a 4K laser projector like this from a reputable brand, but the gamers are still sleeping. In my opinion, the gamers are still sleeping. You gamers need to get out there and test something like this.